EVs are not a one. Here's a remote for the timer. You better get that.
Timer. I don't know. Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, you.
It was sold out. Yeah. It sold out early. We always sold out.
Is it still functional back here? I'm sorry.
I'm praying today.
Let me see.
Miss Laura, you praying today? Oh, no, we got Minister Bowden.
We also have Reverend Martha Gunner.
I didn't see him earlier.
No, it's
It is.
who works in code enforcement.
Next time.
Good.
You right.
We're not.
For the carpet.
Yeah.
No.
All right, it's,
All right, so we'll just go ahead with
you have what you need?
this agenda and how it, as the
hope
agenda as it is, and I will
There's no redundancies on here, Mr. Harrison.
make adjustments. Right.
Oh, they took mine out.
Your public version won't have it in it.
Oh,
Council.
okay.
I'm sorry, council, your public version will not have the redundancies within inside of it. That's why you have a public version there for your
Okay.
reference.
Thank you.
Okay. And without further ado. Okay.
You put it right in front of or can you put it behind them?
I guess I can look through this. Okay. So then if I reset this, beautiful. Okay. Good evening, everyone. The December 5th, 2023 Bolingborough Township Council meeting is now called to order. If you would all please stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And council and public, if forgive me today, I know I'm going a little bit out of order with the agenda, but I will defer to the solicitor for the compliance statement.
Okay, this is to confirm that adequate notice was provided pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act with duly noted publication on the township's website, the newspaper of authorized newspaper of the Township of Willingboro, and that we've complied with all notifications and representations associated with the Open Public Meetings Act. I just swung that too. I didn't have it memorized, but I believe that covers it. So
I think you winged it pretty good there. That was pretty, thank you. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I will do the roll call. Councilman Nathaniel Anderson. Present. Councilwoman, Deputy Mayor Samantha Whitfield.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor K.M. McIntosh.
Present.
Councilwoman Dr. Tiffany Worthing.
Present.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Rebecca Perone.
Present.
Also present, Township Manager, Mr. Dwayne Harris. And also the solicitor, Mr. Evan Crook, correct?
yes.
Thank you. And
thank
myself, Brandon Garcia, is present. Thank you. We've arrived at council. We've arrived at the prayer. As I understand it, Mr. Dwayne Wallace was supposed to do the prayer today, but he will not be present this
Can
evening.
you turn the microphones up?
I'm sorry. Can anybody? Is it me?
Can you?
Is it me? Is that better?
Yes.
Let's try and. There we are. Better? Okay. Again, council, I apologize. The Mr. Dwayne Wallace did call to mention that he would not be able to make it for today's prayer. I don't know if I have a substitute of any volunteer or anybody that may be available. There we are.
Let us pray. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for another opportunity to gather here in Willingboro Township as the governing body and members of the administration and residents of this community. Lord, we ask that you just bless this gathering, that it be done in proper order and in compliance with our policies and procedures so that the business of this community can be effectuated to the benefit of all of those who are residents herein. Give us guidance and direction. Forgive us for all of our shortcomings. We give you praise and honor in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen. You need the microphones overall are kind of low.
Kind of low.
Yeah. So you go.
There we
yeah,
go.
There you go.
Bring it up close.
Bring it up close.
There you
Got
go.
Yes. Thank you very, very much. Understood. I appreciate that. Thank you. And Madam Mayor, I believe we've arrived at proclamations
Yes.
at this point. It's my understanding that the proclamation will be substituted for a different additional and special proclamation.
Yes, thank you. I just want to see if Miss Bligen's on the line. I host. Oh, there she is. As everyone can see, we do have our new township clerk, Mr. Garcia. Today is his second day of work and first council meeting, but I did want to acknowledge our previous acting clerk. Unfortunately, she can't be with us today, so I did want to just present this plaque to her, and I'll see you tomorrow to give it to you. But it reads, "With great appreciation, whereas Willingboro Township Council, along with the residents of the Willingboro Township, wish to commend Brenda Bligen for her ongoing commitment and service as the acting municipal clerk for Willingboro Township from December 2020 to December 2023. Thank you for all your selfless dedication and time in the capacity of one of the most important and exacting positions in the municipal government. Your tireless efforts to accomplish the mission and to bring our core values to life: betterment, accountability, service, integrity, collaboration, and success, which are our basics, are highly regarded. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Willingboro Township Council does hereby extend sincere thanks and appreciation to Brenda Bligen for her time, energy, and commitment, and wishes her all the best in her future endeavors. Thank you so much, Ms. Bligen, for all that you've done for us and for the township. We really appreciate you. I will have this for you tomorrow.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
You're welcome. Anything? Oh, no, guess not. All right. Mr.
No.
Harris, did you have anything you wanted to say? No? Okay.
No, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. All right. Mr. Harris.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the public. We just have some summary items to just go through for the remainder of 2023, just to kind of fill you in what's been going on in the latter couple of weeks. Our fire and EMS department, they have offered 10 CPR AED training classes to the community since August of 2023. And Chief Burnett would like to proudly announce that 80 township residents are now trained in CPR and the use of an AED. So I thank Chief Burnett for all of his efforts for our goal to have 100 residents trained. So we are still going to look to support additional classes so we can get to our 100 resident quota. And the volunteer emergency squad has volunteered to pay for the training cards, the CPR AED cards, to continue offering the free CPR AED training to residents of the community that are interested. So if anyone is interested in receiving CPR training, please reach out to the Willingboro Township Fire Department, and we will be happy to include you in our next upcoming training sessions. On Wednesday, the 21st, the fire and EMS staff assisted with a food drive sponsored by the Willingboro Board of Education and the County Club Administration at the County Club Administration Building for the hours of 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And there was a fire prevention presentation to the first through fourth grade students at the Twin Hills Elementary School on Thursday, November 30th. Our inspections department has been very busy. There were 357 total inspections completed between November 1st and the 15th. Revenues collected during that time was $48,720. And I believe at the end of the month, we were well over $100,000 in revenues collected. Our public safety, there are 5 officers that are expected to graduate from the Camden County and Gloucester County Police Academies on December 14th and 15th. And we look forward to the mayor administering their oath of offices at our December 19th meeting. 40 of Willingboro's police officers have been trained in the newly acquired TASER 7, which is a non-lethal force option that reduces the risk of officers and individuals. The old TASERs were out of warranty and we were compelled to upgrade. And patrols have been enforcing several ordinance violations this month, specifically ordinance number 35613, which involves vehicle size and weight restrictions. Their focus has been on shopping centers throughout the municipality. And finally, on November 19th and November 20th, Willingboro Police made turkey deliveries to Willingboro residents. The police department has consistently made food deliveries on the 3rd Saturday of every month to families unable to reach the pantries due to health issues or a lack of transportation. It is a service that they plan to continue to provide to our residents. Approximately 30 deliveries are made to Willingboro residents monthly. We have partnered with the Monmouth County Board of Social Services. They will be utilizing Willingboro, our JFK Center, to offer SNAP applications. They will be coming, I believe, on the first Thursday of every month, beginning in January. So we will have more information related to that as well. Just to update you on some of the projects that we have been working on, our fiscal year 2022 NJDOT Municipal Aid Project related to Bradford and Blueberry Lane. There was a contract in the amount of $267,672. The construction has been substantially completed. There were some punch list items that still remain to be done. Our Buckingham Lane culvert repair done by Think Pavers in the contract amount of $120,796 has been completed, and we are just waiting for the contractor to provide the municipality its maintenance bond. The fiscal year 2023 NJDOT Municipal Aid Grant in the amount of $318,438 to repave Buckingham Drive is still in New Jersey DOT review. Once approved, we will proceed to bid and move forward on this project as well. Our fiscal year 2024 NJDOT Municipal Aid Grant for Marshall Lane in the award amount of $407,425. Proposal was approved and the design is in process. We are still working on our segment 4 roadway program, the I-Bank multi-road project. Preliminary plans are completed and have been submitted to NJ Moves for review back on November 22nd. NJDOT approval is required before advertisement for bid. These plans should be authorized for public bidding by the end of the month, and construction should begin as soon as the weather permits in 2024. PSC&G is also proceeding with its ahead of paving gas line replacement in conjunction with our segment 4 roadway project. They will begin replacing gas lines on Hazelwood Circle and Harmon on December 11th, and then move to Meadowbrook Place, Mainbridge Lane, Meadowbrook Lane, Montclair Lane, Montrose Lane, and Moss Hill Lane within the next few weeks thereafter. When they're finished, they will continue to move on and move into Pastoral Lane, Marshall Lane, Primrose, Garden Brook, and finally Clearwater Place. And we are expected to complete this project by September of 2024. The fiscal year 2024 concrete repair Plans and specs are in final review. The anticipated scheduled advertisement is the end of this month, and then we look to begin construction in early spring. And this will include some concrete repair work on the Van Scriver Bridge and the Penny Packer Bridge as well. We have been in communication with NJDOT, and I'm very happy to report that 2 problem areas were brought to their attention at Route 130 and Veterans Parkway / Van Sciver Parkway. There were some flooding issues there, and they are scheduled to begin repair work. They're going through that process as well. So at least they're moving in the right direction. Also, the road condition at Route 130 and Charleston Road was an issue, especially the jug handle. Repairs were scheduled by NJDOT, and I believe they may have even completed them partially, the paving there at that intersection. Beverly Rancocas Road and Windsor Lane, the traffic light. Burlington County responded to evaluate the signal if it was warranted, and that investigation is still ongoing. Our fiscal year 2022 multi-location stormwater infrastructure repairs at Holston Lane, Clubhouse Drive, and Windsor Lane, Buckingham and Berkshire as well. We did go out to bid on those projects back in September. The bid came in at $900,000, which was excessively over the engineer's estimate and was not representative of the work. So we had rejected the bids. We are re-advertising, and we expect that to be done later this month. And again, construction to begin in the winter months of 2024. The Township Stormwater Authority feasibility study that was funded by a $50,000 grant from the New Jersey League of Conservative Voters is almost complete. We are expecting the preliminary final report for review with them on this Friday. We are also happy to announce that the JFK Performing Arts Center Phase 1 project is scheduled to begin very soon. They were scheduled to start on yesterday, but because of a slight permitting delay, that has been pushed back just until those permits are completely finalized. We expect that to begin next week. We do project that project to begin or be completed, or phase 1 of that project to be completed in April of 2024. And we are also in the process of phase 2 planning and setting the plans and specifications, which are expected to be completed by 2023, December this month, ready to go out to bid as well. The LED lighting replacement on all municipal properties has been completed by Bright Ideal. I hope you can see the difference in the lighting here at the complex, as well as at the JFK Center and the library as well. The library looks like an illuminated in the vast darkness. It's just very, very bright and happy to see. PSC&G has agreed to also begin transitioning streetlights to LED, and they are almost done converting the lights at the amphitheater. They will do the lights in the rear parking lot of the municipal complex and then begin transitioning lights in the Penny Packer portion of the municipality and systematically work their way throughout the township. Again, this is a long-term, multi-year project and will continue street by street, section by section until complete. The ESIP program is moving along with new HVAC units having been installed at JFK. They have also begun the asbestos remediation of the boilers at the JFK and will soon begin transitioning the interior lights within the municipal complex as well. And there is scheduled to be a planning meeting on next week, December the 12th, if the council is still going to move forward with that at 6 p.m. to review some master plans for various municipal improvements that we need to discuss and prepare for in 2024. So with that, I just want to ask Ms. Jackson if she would just come up and share with the township any events that are remaining for the end of this fiscal year.
Good evening, everyone. Happy December. So we are, of course, coming off of the heels of our tree lighting, which was Saturday night. We thank everyone for being a part of that. And now we are looking forward to our house decorating contest. The deadline for submission is Friday, December 8th. And we are encouraging all of our residents to light up Willingboro by submitting their beautifully decorated homes. There is a link on our website as well as a QR code on our flyer for those who are interested in participating in that. We will have 3 top prizes, and those winners will be celebrated at our next council meeting. So we look forward to that. And then, of course, on Saturday, Santa Claus is coming to town. So we're looking forward to that. The Santa Run will be held on Saturday, December 9th, and will begin at 9 o'clock and conclude around 5 o'clock. And so with a break in between for Santa to have a little lunch with the elves. So the first run will be from 9 to noon, and then the second run will be from 1:30 to 5. The parks are located on our flyers on our website as well as our Facebook page. So we encourage people to grab their cameras and take pictures as Santa passes by. And to use the hashtag 2023 Borough Santa Run so we can track your pictures. And there will be a tracker, correct? So we can track where Santa is throughout the community. So we're looking forward to that. It's always an exciting time. I believe we have some special guests that will be joining Santa this year. So we're looking forward to that. And then on next Friday, December 15th, from 6 to 9 at the Kennedy Center, we will have the Jingle Jangle Jam for our young ones from younger residents, ages 12 and under. We'll have crafts and fun. I think Santa will be there as well and distributing toys. So that will be at the Kennedy Center next Friday from 6 to 9. And then in the gymnasium, we will have our Jolly Jubilee Tea Night, which will also be from 6 to 9. And we have some wonderful activities scheduled for our teens. So looking forward to that. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Does anyone have any questions or concerns for Mr. Harris? Deputy Mayor?
You want to go first?
You can go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, Councilman Anderson.
Mr. Harris, I know at the last meeting, I know Councilwoman Perone mentioned she had caught a pothole. Has that repair been taken care of?
It was on the street of Van Sciver, passing the corner of Van Sciver and JFK. So that street that you're passing, when you're passing the funeral home, I think it is. It was that street.
W tomorrow.
Veterans Parkway, I'm sorry, not Van Sciver, Veterans Parkway.
And also with the LED project, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Mr. Gaines had taken the lead on that project.
Absolutely.
I just want to congratulate him for a great job, but also it's my understanding that the cost associated with it was negotiated, where it was a minimum cost to do all this lighting change.
Yes, the project actually was funded through PSE&G Direct Install. So the costs were incorporated into our monthly utility bills, being offset by the savings that we will receive.
Thank you and congratulations, Kevin, and your team.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Harris, for your report. I just had one thing. You mentioned that the county had done the review or still evaluating the intersection at Beverly, Rancocas, and Windsor Lane. But I wanted to ensure that the intersection also on Beverly, Rancocas, but right at Willingboro Lakes Park was added to that and being evaluated. I know I mentioned it before, but I didn't want that to slip through the cracks. It's quite a dangerous intersection, and a number of residents have noted that it's hard to cross the street there.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, anyone? Yes, Dr. Worthy?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Harris, I had a few things. One was, I know we talked about an update to council on the facilities in terms of some projects that are happening in the municipal complex with additional offices, maybe some movement around the complex, as well as workspace for the council. I didn't hear it in the report, so I wanted to touch base on that to see if you have an update you can share with the body.
So we did discuss potential workspace for the council. And I think that we just needed to have a further discussion as to what the council was looking for as far as workspace and what would be acceptable workspace for the governing body. Currently, there is the council room that was reserved in the back of the court administrative room, which I thought was reserved for your space, but if that's not adequate space, then we need to identify what that adequate space would be and then make the appropriate adjustments.
Okay, the conversation that we had during your update was slightly different. Madam Mayor, do you want to have that discussion during new business or executive? Or how do you want to? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so we can come back to that. The new date for the breaking for the Performing Arts Center, do you have one yet, or is that still underway?
That's still underway. We're just waiting for the finality of the permits coming out of the inspections department. The contractor did not want to move stuff into place until he had all of the proper permits.
And can you share what the delay was for the permitting delay? Because
Yeah, the UCC office needed some additional information regarding the electrical permits.
okay.
And they had reached out to the contractor for that updated information. And do you know if that was submitted, Mr. Tunstall?
We have not received it as of yet, but we just spoke to my business.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Harris, do we have an update on the Kennedy Plaza and the markings, the parking lot markings? I know we spoke about it a couple of months ago. I believe there was some citations that was handed out to the Kennedy Plaza with the parking lot lines, how they were faded away, the handicap signs were on. Do we have an
I
update on
can
that?
follow up with our inspections department. Or Mr. Tunstall, are you aware of any additional violations being noted in that parking? I know we had.
They have received their notice, they have until the end of December, I believe.
Okay.
To complete task and/or present some sort of plan to complete the task.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just have one question? Do you have any updates for the leaf pickup? I know, are they going through their second run for the parks that were already done?
So my understanding is that they have completed the second zone and are just kind of wrapping it up, the areas that haven't been done. The township was broken up into two zones. The first zone was completed and they have gone through the second zone, but they haven't, I guess there are still some streets that need to be done.
Yeah, I think zone one probably needs to be revisited because I just see a lot of, as I go through that list that was provided, it seems like fresh leaves, new leaves on the corner, just to make sure we go back through.
I don't think that they're done for the year,
Okay.
but I know that the zone designation, go ahead, Mr. Gaines.
And can you talk, give me, so we can hear?
Zone one was completed in the beginning of the season. So at that particular time of the season, the leaves are just starting to fall.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got done doing zone two. Formalities, we're gonna be going back to zone one.
Okay.
And also completing the streets that when we go through, some residents have not yet put all their leaves down.
Right.
So we're in the process of mitigating that and keeping moving forward.
Okay.
Okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Mr. Harris, you can continue with the ordinances and resolutions.
Thank you. So for your consider this evening is ordinance number 2023-2022, which is the second reading and possible adoption for establishing requirements for privately owned salt storage for the storage of salt and other solid de-icing materials in the township. The purpose of this ordinance is to prevent stored salt and other solid de-icing materials from being exposed or leached into our stormwater. The next resolution for your consideration is resolution number 258, authorizing the Township of Willingboro to execute an agreement with Liege Pristine Clean to provide custodial and related services. We do have a need for custodial services as a non-fair and open contract that was utilized for the Willingboro Library. We did receive additional competitive quotes that were received for the custodial services, and Lee's Pristine Clean came in as the lowest responsible quote. Those services did not exceed 24,000 for the desired cleaning, carpet cleaning and deep cleaning that was at the library. Most of this has been funded, but I believe there was just an additional $7,000 that was required, that took us over the threshold, and we needed to make sure that the additional $7,000 was accounted for in the funding. Resolution number 259 is authorizing the overpayment of taxes, which is pretty standard and routine business that is handled by the governing body. Resolution number 260 is a resolution for the budget transfers of the township to meet the requirement for operating the affairs of the township. At the end of the last 2 months of the year and the first 3 months of every subsequent year, the township is able to transfer monies out of budget accounts to other budget accounts to meet shortfalls. The list is provided with the resolution as to where the monies are going into and where they're coming out of. Resolution number 261 is authorizing the approval of vouchers for payment and ratification. Resolution number 262 is a resolution authorizing the NJIB loan for $375,000 for the issuance and sale of short-term financing for the project related to our multi-street road program through the Transportation Bank Short-Term Construction Loan Program. It's a lot, but to try to explain it to you very simply is that the iBank is going to pay our expenses for this construction project in the form of a loan. We did an ordinance to pass a bond ordinance, which we are going to issue a note on. The iBank is going to buy that note as collateral, and then we are going to pay back the iBank for that loan. So it's almost like buying a car where the bank issues a note for the car to pay the car dealer, and we pay back the bank, and when the car is paid off, they give us the title. So, but just related on the municipal aspect. Resolution number 263 is a resolution authorizing an award of contract for custodial services for the Willingboro Township buildings. The township administration thought it was in the best interest to enter into a contract with Lee's Pristine for, this is the wrong. Yeah, this was the duplicate. I'm sorry. Yes. 264, resolution number 264 is authorizing an increase to the not to exceed amount for Lee's Pristine Clean LLC for the provision of custodial services to the township. I'm sorry.
The award of contract custodial services.
It's 24,000. That was the same one as 250. Right.
So 260. What's that? The resolution should be for 263, should be awarded, right?
Resolution authorizing the township of Willingboro to execute an agreement. And so the 263,
Yeah, 258 and 263 were the
repeats.
yeah.
one that I added from me, 253, and there's a resolution authorizing going to contact will work will be first. Contact for the building.
So that's actually number 265. That's what I have as number 265. Yeah.
We had corrected and took out 265. It was the repeat of the 263. Is that wrong?
263 was a repeat of the 258.
Of the 258.
So, yeah, there were three resolutions for Leash Pristine Clean. There was one to award them the 24,000 for the deep cleaning and carpet cleaning.
Right.
There's the one that that's correct, and it was also listed as 263.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so 258 is to execute an agreement, correct?
Question is, 263 or 265 intended to be a contract with the Maze Pristine for 2024? So that's not in the package, the package.
Okay. 263. So award contract with custodial services, okay.
Did we receive bids or have we make an award on that? Do you know the ones?
No, 263 was a duplicate of 258. Yes, it is. That's 265.
I was looking for that, Chair. I'm sorry, this is not numbered for us. Our pages are not numbered, so everything just says resolution 2023. So, I see the contract. 258 has to do with the Lease Pristine for the carpet cleaning,
That's correct.
right? For the library. And so there's another contract in here for Lease Pristine. Is that what you're saying? There's another.
Yes.
You know what page number that is?
263 is a duplicate of 265.
What page number is that? Do you see it, Madam Mayor? Yeah, you do. Let's see, 26.
So I don't know what you're looking at because your agenda is not in line with what I have. So there was a 265.
Okay, so I mean,
Wait.
253 and 265 are the same thing. So we can.
Right.
So we can
Strike one of them.
263, why don't we strike 263 and go ahead with 264 and 265?
Correct.
Okay, do you know what number that is on here? See, look, mine is skipped. It goes 260
Right.
and 264.
From what I had,
No, 265.
from what I had seen, no, go ahead, I'm sorry. Yeah. From what I had seen, I thought that 263 and 265 were 263 and 265 were one and the same.
Right.
So we eliminated 265 for 263.
Right, they're saying from Mr. Harris.
And
265, so I think.
He has 265. Okay, so we're,
31, let me close.
All right, so we're gonna strike 263.
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
I don't have this page. See, look, she has on 38. Mine is for, look, my page.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
This is the one that was on my desk. So
We're gonna
it's
have to pass
27,
one of the weight, because everybody doesn't have.
27, so it goes 31, and then it's 40.
Yeah, I wanna see a mailbox, it has everything.
Okay. No.
Go ahead, so we're gonna take 263 off,
Mhm.
we're going straight to 264.
264 is the not to exceed for $5,000 for overtime expenses.
Right.
Okay, all right, got
That's
that.
an amendment to the 20.
I can go get it, 'cause we're not.
That is correct.
Yes. Sure.
Okay. So takes 264.
Okay.
Mr. Harris, you can continue.
Okay, so resolution number 264 is a resolution authorizing increase to the not to exceed amount for Lee's Pristine Clean LLC for the provision of custodial services. They were authorized for a not to exceed amount of $340,837 for the provision of custodial services to the township for the 2023 contract year. It is necessary to increase that approved amount not to exceed by $5,000 to cover unanticipated overtime costs for events held at the JFK Center and the Senior Center. So we're just increasing their 2023 contract amount by additional $5,000 from $340,837.70 to $345,837.70.
Yeah.
Okay, so resolution number 265 is authorizing the township to award a contract for custodial services for township buildings. This is, so after solicitation for competitive bids for custodial operations in 2022, which the bids were opened on October 5th and awarded to Lee's Pristine Clean as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for the contract term, which was 12 months that ends in December. The terms of the contract provided for 12-month renewal and providing that the terms and conditions of the contract remain substantially unchanged. Lee's Pristine LLC has satisfactorily performed all of the services in the contract agreement and has requested a 13% increase in the contract price for 2024. That increase, a requested increase, totals $44,308.51. If we added that into their original bid solicitation from 2022, it would still be below the solicited bids that we received from other vendors in 2022. And myself and the acting superintendent of public works have reviewed the request and recommend that the contract for Lee's Pristine Clean be extended for a period of 12 months, commencing January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. Resolution number 266 is a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement between Willingboro Township and Pemberton Township in Burlington County. We entered into a very similar agreement last year. These three entities participate in a grant opportunity from the JAG Award. In the past, Burlington County has participated as the lead agency and has dispersed the funds to Willingboro and Pemberton last year. And this year, the county is not participating in this grant opportunity. Last year, Pemberton served as the lead agency and dispersed the funds to Willingboro after we met all the requirements. This year, Willingboro is going to serve as the lead agency and then transmit the funding to Pemberton upon their submission of all of the required documents. Resolution number 267 is a resolution authorizing an execution of agreement with the Willingboro Public School District and Willingboro Township for our school resource officers. We have entered into previous agreements with them, and there is no additional increase in cost for 2024. And resolution number 268 is a resolution authorizing the extension of the contract for animal control services. This is an extension for an additional 12 months commencing on January 1st, 2024. And those are all of the resolutions that are being presented to you this evening.
Thank you. We are going to now open it up for public comment for agenda items only. You have 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Again, this is public comment for agenda items only. I see someone on Zoom.
Yes, Mayor Pat Lindsay Harvey.
One second, Ms. Gunnan.
Oh, somebody
Okay,
else.
yeah,
wait.
Ms. Lindsay Harvey. Ms. Lindsay Harvey, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Okay, we'll put you back in queue, Ms. Gunnan.
Good evening, Honorable Township Council members. I'm beginning to
evening.
feel like Rip Van Winkle because I didn't realize that the public comment procedure had changed, that you could only speak to agenda items. And because I came prepared to talk about 3 things tonight, and I see that I won't be able to talk about them.
You will. There's another public comment right after we vote on after we vote on the agenda.
Okay, so
Then
you speak on non-agenda
yeah,
items.
right.
I'll
Yeah,
hold
this is
it up.
just for agenda items, just so before we vote on them, and then after that, the regular public comment
Thank you
is
so
open.
much.
No
I
problem.
shall return.
Okay.
You promise?
Who do we? Host, you can allow. Yeah.
All right, Sharon Anderson.
Good evening, council members. My name is Sharon Anderson, and I live at 7 Bellhurst Lane. I appreciate, I'm here to speak now on the resolution about the animal control services. First of all, I have to tell you, I appreciate the services that we have here in Willingboro. As a Borough Pet Project volunteer, I can personally attest to the kindness and care of the animal control officers and of the company administrator who's been helpful in guiding Borough Pet Project. I would like to know whether there was an analysis of the coverage and contracted services done prior to deciding to recommend the extension of the contract as it stands. For example, was there consideration of whether the current on-duty schedule, which I believe is business hours Monday through Friday and does not include weekends, if that's sufficient on-duty coverage? We pay a premium for service outside on-duty hours. So I just wondered if they looked at whether there'd be a service quality and cost benefit, a service quality for residents and cost benefit to increasing the on-duty hours. Second, do the current services combined with the procedures meet our township needs and the current county's capacity? The shelter's in crisis. Every kennel and cage is full. Animals are being housed in temporary conditions, and we get charged for animals taken to the shelter. The stray pets are left in an unattended building of concrete and chain link walls. Even if an owner is found a half hour later, they can't get them because they can't retrieve till the next day. So my question with that is, was there consideration of reducing the pets being put in these kennels and the cost of shelter stays by checking microchips while the animal is still in Willingboro? If we were to check the microchips here, the animal, and if they were registered, the animal could be returned without incurring the drive time and registration effort at the shelter.
Anderson, I believe that's your time.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak?
Let's give Pat Lindsay Harvey another shot.
Mr. Johnson, you can come up while we're waiting. You can go.
Oh,
You can proceed, yes.
Gary Johnson, 54 Gramercy Lane. Good evening and happy holidays to everybody. I'm just taking a clarification for a hard hearing elderly old man, but on resolution 262, I heard the amount expressed as in the thousands, and yet on my resolution here, I have $3,750,000. So may I ask what the actual value is?
Yes.
Yeah,
$3,750,000.
thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Johnson. Miss Lindsay Harvey? Your microphone is moving, but we don't hear you still. We don't hear you, Miss Harvey. So we'll if hopefully you can wait to the next public comment. Yeah. Or you can type your concern. Thank you, Councilwoman. Type your concern in the message box. And public comment for agenda items is now closed, barring Ms. Harvey's, if she makes any comments. Yeah, I can't see it. Sean, if Sean, if there's something being written, can you just dictate that to us?
Sure. I don't see anything as of this moment.
Oh. Okay.
She did make a comment right there.
Can you read it?
Sure.
Maybe can't, please.
Yep. So Pat Lindsay Harvey stated, I wanted to thank you for keeping the current cleaning company on. They have done a fantastic job.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Harris, let me address the animal control, and then also within that, provide further clarifications on the protocol for animal control, because there seems to be some confusion.
So I believe Ms. Anderson was asking if a cost benefit analysis had been completed in regard to renewing our contract for 2024 and possibly extending their operating hours to benefit our need. Their operating hours are their operating hours, and we can extend their operating hours. As far as them meeting our needs, the animal control came into place as a replacement for animal control officers that we used to employ in the township. Because we were no longer able to staff those positions, we did go to outside sources. And when we made that transition, we did experience a cost savings in our animal control costs. The costs have been relatively consistent. Last year, I believe there was a slight increase in this contract. And I don't recall an excessive increase for services in 2024. So I do believe that our animal control, the costs are meeting our needs. Now, as far as procedures are, there has been some, I don't want to say controversy, but some miscommunications as to whom people should be calling for animal control services. They should be calling the Willingboro Police Department, who will contact animal control and dispatch whatever needs are to handle the situation. There is really no reason for residents to call animal control and try to solicit their services. They need to call the Willingboro Police Department. Part of the confusion was that some of they have been calling animal control. Animal control has been referring residents back to Willingboro Township. And if I'm getting it wrong, Captain Bucks, please correct me. But somehow those calls have been interfacing with the Burlington County, our 911 center. So then, I'm sorry. Yeah. You want to take over?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Okay.
So our procedures haven't changed. So where the miscommunication was coming is if a resident dialed 911, it's going to our communication center in West Hampton. So what's happening there is sometimes the dispatchers are telling the residents, instead of calling us or dispatching us, they're telling the residents to call animal control directly. So that's where the miscommunication was coming from central dispatch out in West Hampton, which we really don't have any control over. We reached out to their supervisors. We gave them our procedures and we're going to continue to monitor it. But any one of our residents that need animal control can dial 911 for the emergencies, 609-877-3001 for our non-emergency, which is our front desk downstairs, or 609-267-8300, which is the dispatch center in West Hampton. But again, the miscommunication was coming from, West Hampton, because what was happening is I reached out to New Jersey Animal Control and I said, are a lot of our residents calling you? And he said, no, not necessarily. We're getting the call from dispatch who has the resident on the other line, and then they're patching them together. So that's how I think where a lot of the confusion was coming. So as far as we're concerned, we go to anything that we go to every one of the animal complaints that are dispatched. I ran the numbers earlier today. To date, we are at 1,332 calls that we as police officers have responded to for animal complaints. We evaluate the situation, and if animal control is needed or necessary, we go ahead and we will contact them.
Okay. And is there any way that we can beef up some of the communication about the animal control? Because that is still a big concern
Yes,
for a lot of our residents
yes, ma'am.
on how to accommodate or look for help for these animals. So.
And to kind of go back to what Miss Anderson was talking about, their hours are 8:30 to 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday. There are emergency services on the weekends. Again, we will get dispatched to that.
Okay.
If there's an emergency situation where we need animal control, they will be called, but then that incurs additional fees, to the municipality for the emergency services on weekends and holidays.
Weekends and holidays. Okay, and Ms. Anderson also addressed microchips. Are we doing anything?
As far as our police officers having microchips, we do not have that capabilities.
Okay.
Animal control, I will find out if they have those capabilities, if they have those microchip readers. I can find that out.
Okay, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson had asked the question, I don't know if you, Captain Bucks, may know, or you, Mr. Harris, but she specifically asked if we had evaluated the cost as related to operating hours. And the response was their operating hours are their operating hours. But the question was the question asked, was there a way to accommodate different hours, whether it includes weekends as part of their standard package for Willingboro, or I think the question was more about, was there dialogue around additional operating hours or expanding it, or, to make sure that we're being covered. So I didn't hear a response to that. I was just trying to get a better understanding.
I haven't, well, I don't, yeah.
No, from my understanding through conversations with them, those are their hours. And then I can reach out to them to see if there's anything. I'm sure there would be additional costs and fees if they're going to bring somebody in on to regularly patrol, let's say every Saturday.
Right. I think Ms. Anderson was just saying, as if we're looking to extend the contract, or if we're going to stay with them, is there an opportunity to reevaluate based on how much is being spent on their non-operating days or times? Could we consider what that might look like in terms of adding it to the contract?
I know for, again, I wrote these down, hold on one sec. I know during as far as their response for Willingboro, I have their numbers. So they break it down between weekend, weekday, and after hours. 75% of their calls for service, which is to date 370, 75% of them are on the weekday.
Okay.
And only 11% on the weekends. And then 5% of that time is for after hours. So 5% of those 370 calls are after hours. 11% of those 370 are on the weekends.
Okay.
And 75% of those calls are during the weekday.
Thank you. So it sounds like an analysis was done, and based on that analysis, there isn't a reason to expand the operating hours, even though their operating hours are their operating hours. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, I think that was it for public comment. Mr.
Madam Mayor,
Garcia?
Certainly. Madam Mayor, next on our agenda, I believe is ordinances. We have ordinance 2023-22, public hearing and final reading, establishing requirements for privately owned salt storage for the storage of sale and other solid de-icing materials. I'm sorry? Being a final, public hearing and final reading, are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam Mayor, if you want
Just
to
make
ask.
sure, we'll just make sure online.
Oh, certainly.
Do you see anyone host online?
I got used to that.
Not at this time, Mayor.
Thank you.
Seeing none, Madam Mayor, if you want to ask for a motion to approve that ordinance. I have a motion to approve ordinance 2023-22.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by
Moved.
Councilman Anderson, seconded by Dr. Worthy. Any discussion? Roll call?
Certainly. Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
and Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Before we move forward, are there any resolutions that we would like to pull out of the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay, which one?
I have a question about
Yeah, just give me the numbers.
okay, 258. And 265.
Okay.
That's all, just those two.
All right.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pull out 260 and 261 just for brief discussion.
One more, 262.
262.
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion for consent agenda for resolutions 2023, 258, 259, 260. 260. Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta cross out. 260. 265.
Was that?
I'm sorry, pulled out, yes, I'm sorry. Oh, that's pulled. You pulled it.
You pulled.
Oh, right. No, no.
I apologize. I remake the motion for consent agenda of resolution 223-258. Oh my gosh, I got these. I'm sorry, I got them circled the wrong way. Yeah, that.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for consent agenda for resolutions 2023-259, 2023-264, 2023-266, 2023-267, and 2023-268.
Second?
Moved by Councilwoman Dr. Worthy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Whitfield. And roll call?
Certainly. Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam Mayor, then that leaves us with,
No. we still got
Maybe
that.
the approval.
Yep, the consent agenda.
certain, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And roll call to approve consent agenda, Councilwoman Anderson.
Make a
Councilman An-
motion.
Excuse me.
Make a motion that we, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Moved by Councilwoman Dr. Worthy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Whitfield. Roll call, please.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Noted. Okay, moving along to those items pulled from the consent agenda, I have resolution 258. Resolution authorizing the Township of Willingboro to execute an agreement with Lee's Pristine Clean LLC. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Worthy, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Discussion?
So this agenda item is the one that's relating to the carpet, right? Okay, and so with this carpet cleaning, is this a one-time thing or this is a yearly contract, Mr. Harris?
This was a one-time event, which the carpet was just a part of the deeper cleaning of the library. We cleaned the carpets, we dusted shelves, we cleaned fecal material from the furnishing. That was a very thorough cleaning of the library.
Okay, because carpet cleaning is a part of the cleaning service, but you're saying this is more of a deep detail cleaning? Is that what you're saying?
Lee's Pristine is not contracted to clean the library. They have their own maintenance individual.
Okay.
So we had to go in under a separate contract to do those works.
Oh, I see. So this is specifically only for the library and not the carpets at the municipality.
That is correct.
Okay, all right. That concludes my questions for that item.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried. To resolution 65.
260.
260.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
We do have, I apologize, 260. Resolution for the budget transfer of the Township of Willingboro to meet the requirements for operating the affairs of the township. Is that not me? Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Worthy, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Any discussion?
All right, which one are we on?
260. 260. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Harris, I had a few questions. I did look over the request to transfer the funds, but I don't recall a discussion about it. In particular, the line item for the $100,000 for, I guess it was for labor and some of those other items. We haven't discussed it during the one-on-ones, or I don't recall having a discussion as a body. So I was really surprised to see it on the agenda. So I was wondering if you could share some insights in terms of particularly the technology, salary and wages, which may have to be executive session, labor negotiation. I'm not familiar with what these, what all these requests are for.
So technology, salary and wages, just to cover overtime expenses in that department. Township attorney labor negotiations, a few months ago, Mr. Taylor separated from his firm. At the time, we owed his firm about $35,000, well, a little less than that. But we did a not to exceed in the amount of $35,000 to cover anticipated costs for his prior firm. But we also needed to establish a not to exceed amount for his new firm so that he can continue to operate under a budget for Willingboro, and that also was $35,000. So those two items alone totaled $70,000. And there was additional monies that are in this figure in anticipation of additional work that we are still working through to the end of the year. We have 3 contract issues going on. And we are still negotiating contracts for one final bargaining unit in the township. So that money, although it says 100,000, was not a hard 100,000, but it is anticipated that we could spend up to 100,000 to take us to the end of the year.
Thank you. So wouldn't we have a resolution then for increasing the not to exceed if we're making these moves?
We did it not to exceed for 35,000.
Right.
When
I'm saying for the other 30, so 35 and 35 is 70. So the additional anticipated $30,000, did we already do the not to exceed to cover that 30,000? Okay, so this in aggregate, 100,000 would cover all of those legal fees, and we won't have another not to exceed coming to us for legal.
Correct. That is anticipated, yes.
Okay, you said that's anticipated. Okay, got it. And can the part-time for recreation, were those unanticipated or what is that 30,000 for?
That was, oh my goodness, help me.
It's no
Miss Diggs.
backup in here, so that's why I got to ask.
Ms. Diggs, recreation part-time, 30,000.
Yeah, actually, at the beginning of the year, the 2023 amount for recreation part-timers will be reduced. So, actually recreation transferred because of all the additional stuff that happened, we still need 30,000 to cover the part-timers for the end of the year.
Okay. Thank you. In the future, can we have that in the packet just as backup? Because I don't want to have to do this in public and put everybody on the spot. It's helpful just so we understand, what the requests are for.
Yes.
Just provides context. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's my question.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried. On to resolution 261. Resolution authorizing the approval of vouchers for payment and ratification. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mayor McIntosh, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did have one was a comment. I noticed that we still have people that are being paid from our wellness event that we did in September. And I'm just hopeful that as a municipality, we can tighten up our processes so we can pay our vendors more quickly. We did enlist the help of small businesses and residents of the community. And I see someone's just now on the list from that event. So I'm just hopeful going forward that we're able to make it a smaller time frame. And then I did have a question. I didn't know with the PDA renovations for $10,700. I was wondering if we could get some insight into that. Who's it? No, is it Ms. Jackson?
Yes, those were the costs associated between, related to the holiday tree lighting and the Christmas tree lights.
Oh my, okay.
The building, yes.
The building, not the tree?
Oh, the front of the municipal building.
Front of the municipal
Okay.
building and the firehouse as well.
Oh my, okay, thank you.
Any other items for discussion? Roll call, please.
Certainly, Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
and Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to resolution 262. Resolution approving and authorizing NJIB loan for $3,750,000 for the issuance and sale of short-term financing of projects through the Transportation Bank Short-Term Construction Loan Program. Have a motion to approve?
So moves.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Discussion, please.
Thank you. So, Mr. Harris, with this loan, I see that it states that the interest rate of the note shall be determined by the iBank. So therefore, we don't have an exact number of what the repayback is. So I'm confused about that. If you can speak to that a little bit further. In addition to, what is the term of payback? Is it 1 year, over a span of what period of time, if we decided to vote to do this agreement?
So the interest related to the note would be determined at the note closing. And the term that we have with the iBank is a was it 15? Wait. Payback was a 15-year payback, but if we pay it back within 10 years, there is some forgiveness of interest.
Okay. So basically, you would like for us to approve this, and then at the closing, if we're not extremely excited about this interest rate, we can retract?
Well, you already approved it when we authorized the New Jersey iBank agreements, when we did the bond ordinances, and we've been approving this all along. This is just the issuance of the note. So like we just issued notes when we went to permanent financing for some of our ordinances. Those notes are put out into the market. And then the interests are, the notes are bid on and the interest is established. So I don't have the interest on these notes because they haven't been put out for permanent financing yet. When that happens, we will issue the note and the iBank is going to buy the note. So the interest rate hasn't been established quite yet. You're essentially approving the form of the note and authorizing the execution of the note, which would be solely possessed by the iBank.
Okay, so once you are at the closing and then the interest rate is established, is there at any point, at any time where we can retract the agreement?
No.
Why is that?
Because we have already entered into agreements with the iBank. We've authorized, I mean, if you no longer want to move forward with the program, we have not closed on the loans yet.
Right.
But if you're saying that you don't want to do that, then you're essentially saying you don't want to do the road project.
It's not necessarily that, it's that we don't have all of the information as far as what the repayback is. We have no idea. And I understand this process, you're saying you find out later, but we're talking about, right, approximately $3 million here, and we don't exactly know how much more we have to pay back. And we know it's gonna be $3,750,000, right? But to what point? Because what if the payback 500 million? I don't know, you know what I mean? Like what point where we are at the table where we're like, okay, that's, at this time, it's too much. So we're not going to move forward. I'm just trying to see, and I'm not familiar with this program. This is very new to me. So my questions, this is for me, very new, this iBank agreement. So I'm just trying to find out, like, I don't feel comfortable right now. I'll tell you right now, for me, at least as far as for me, I don't feel comfortable voting yes for this. And I was just hoping that I would get more back from you about some figures here.
The interest is determined when the bond issuance of this. There are several bidders that will come, and then our bond council would be like the lowest bidder based on the interest rate. So they'll hope it'll be like a pool of banks,
Okay.
you know, bidding on once we issue the bond, and then the lowest bidder that will come and say, oh, okay, I can buy this bond at an interest rate depending on the market at 4%. Another one will come and say 4.25. Another one will say 3.85. Then they will determine and take the lowest.
The lowest
bidder.
one.
Yes.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Mr. Sebia, before you sit down, is this similar to all the other bond ordinances that we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Certainly, Councilman Anderson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pearl.
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
and Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
We go on to resolution 265. And for clarification purposes, because I believe Mr. Harris and I don't have apparently the same 265 resolution. Somebody from council that has that number 265, we had omitted it from our agenda, thinking that it was the same as 263. If somebody has 265, I'd
I have it, Madam.
love to
Mayor.
hear that
This is
recited.
what I have.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2023-265, resolution authorizing Willingboro Township to award a contract for custodial services contract for the Willingboro Township buildings.
Noted. And may I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Worthy, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Discussion.
Yeah. So the page that I have, which is on page 38, it states that bids were sent out October 2022. It states that Lee's Prestine were the lowest bidder in 2022. What I don't see on my page is what bids were received in 2023, and were they the lowest bidder in 2023?
So the bids were published in 2022. The contract was awarded to them in 2023. There was a provision for a one-year renewal in 2024, and that's what we're executing. We did not go out to bid for 2024.
Oh, because the original contract says you could do another year. Okay. And so they're just asking for a 13% increase on top of the original.
Correct.
But okay, I see. That's why it wasn't sent out. Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Certainly, Councilman Anderson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone.
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
And Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving. And I believe those are
it. Yep.
for this evening. Madam President, Madam Mayor, if you wish to ask for a motion to approve the treasurer report.
Need a motion for the treasury report?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Councilwoman Dr. Worthy, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Any discussion?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Harris, can you share where all these new fancy computers are going? The Optiplex all-in-one, whatever those are?
The new fancy computer.
It said Optiplex. I Googled it because it didn't give any context, but it just talked about Optiplex computers and monitors. It's maybe like a $25,000 investment. So I was just trying to see what that, they're all computers and monitors.
So we are in a computer refresh program where we systematically refresh the computers throughout the municipality. So I believe this year our refresh Sean was in my office. And where else was the other office, Sean, for computer refresh?
Yep, so the main departments that were a part of this refresh was the township managers, communications, information technology, and a little sprinkle like for like the conference room and, you know, new employees, stuff like that for
So we did purchase the two monitors that we hung in and then we installed the one at the JFK Center as well. I did get an additional monitor in my office, a larger size monitor. And
So with the refresh, does that mean that all the departments have new computers and now we're restarting the refresh? So every department has computers less than 3 years old, and that's why these are being purchased and distributed in this manner?
that is correct. And I believe that we have refreshed the whole municipality, and Sean will back me up on it. And we are buying less in 2024 because we have a lesser need. Sean, correct?
Mr. Harris, for the next departments up for a refresh for next year will be the police department and fire department. So that would be a big expense there.
Okay, my bad.
But that's the remaining two departments.
Okay, so the computers that are being bought with this are to replace computers that are more than 3 years old. Is
Correct.
that accurate? Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Certainly, Councilman Anderson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Perone.
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
And Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, now I believe we are at the point of, approval of minutes. I don't believe there were minutes for approval for this particular meeting. Thank you. And for municipal clerks updates, I'm sorry, what you got? What I got? Well, I'm here and thank you very much. And thank you to the public for the warm welcome. I appreciate it. And, please do bear with me as I get a footing back in Willingboro Township. Thank you. And I'm just here to let you know that the clerk's office is happy to serve you, happy to serve the public. Very happy to be here. And I look forward to, being here for quite some time. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome again.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I believe the next item on our agenda is unfinished business. It's my understanding, Madam Mayor, that you wish to discuss the redevelopment at the Avery.
Yes. I'm gonna pass that over to the deputy mayor, just for some explanation and some feedback from council and some discussion.
All right, so we did receive a memo from our redevelopment attorney, Bakari Lee and Tiana Kofini at McMiniman, Scotland and Baum. There were a couple questions in there that required some input from council. One being the trigger for phase 2, if we wanted to input a trigger. My general sentiments is yes, we wanted a trigger in there from our previous discussions because we wanted the phase 2 built. But we would need to come to an agreement in negotiations about what the percentage occupancy would be to trigger the development of phase 2. And then also when it comes to the CO approval, adding in the agreement that the CO would be required for the commercial space before the CO will be granted for the self-storage space. And I just wanted to socialize those 2 points with the rest of council to see where we net out and to give council some direction on where we'd like to go with that.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm in agreement that we do want that lever. But I guess we have to get to a point, what percentage? Are we gonna go for a percentage? Completion?
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be a percentage completion, it would be a percentage occupancy trigger, which was suggested. And that could be, once they get to 50% occupancy, you want them to start construction on phase 2, or it could be higher. Like if they wanted 70% occupancy before they started to do phase 2.
Yes, Dr. Worthy.
I do support a trigger in terms of occupancy, I guess, or a trigger, period. Occupancy, I don't know, I guess because they control that in terms of what they'll allow in or not. I'm just concerned that if we set it based on occupancy but we don't have any control over what's going in or what they want to see in this space, I just wonder if it will create some conflict later on down the line. I'm curious to know what other types of triggers may be useful or helpful. I've not done something like this before, but just curious if there are other triggers that would be meaningful to motivate them, but would work well for us too.
Well, I think based on his presentation, he was indicating occupancy because he said if he builds it out, the first unit, if it had 5 stores, he would want to see that practically filled before he pulled the trigger for the next unit. So that was one of his requests.
Right.
As far as, and I too feel there needs to be a trigger just so we can kind of hold him to his word without allowing him to continue to move forward with the construction on the storage unit. And I believe that the CO shouldn't be offered up on that storage unit until we have some completion on that commercial. Because at the end of the day, he's really looking for the storage.
Right.
He really cares less. At the end of the day, he cares less about the commercial. The storage is
Right.
what he really wants, but because he has to do it as a package for banking purposes. So I just don't want us to be hoodwinked. So it's very, because like I said, I've been down this road with this, with this developer during my time on council. So I just want to make sure, we think this through and it has to benefit us at the end of the day. It has to work for us. We can't afford to get hoodwinked.
Right, and we discussed for the CO process that the CO would have to be granted for the commercial space first before they could obtain the CO for the self-storage. So they wouldn't even be able to open or do business in that area until the CO was obtained for the commercial spot.
What do you think about prior to obtaining the CO for the commercial spot that we require? He needs to fill that commercial space because now that will push him.
I think that's.
Well, I'm saying that would push him to fill commercial before we approve the CO for the storage unit. Because we can always say, you do this on the commercial, but we need that to have that filled up. That's the only way he's going to do it.
I think that's the discussion tonight is the trigger. So the trigger being the percentage occupancy. Is that accurate? So like how much of that
Yeah,
space would
How
have to
much of
be
that
filled up?
commercial space
How much of that
would be
Right,
commercial
well,
space?
But the trigger was related to building phase two.
Phase two.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm
not the
referencing
CO.
Right,
Correct.
the CO was the trigger for the self-storage.
Self-storage,
got it.
right. I just think we need to connect the commercial space to the self-storage because that's what he really wants.
Mhm.
So if we put pressure on him that it has to be filled to such capacity before we even approve that CO. I'm not worried about phase two because what he wants is storage. And that's what's gonna motivate him.
Yeah, but I think part of the discussion is making sure we don't build that one piece of commercial and then there's still a lot of space for that second piece of commercial. Because we're talking about the first piece of commercial, self-storage, and then what's going to trigger that second piece of commercial also.
And
I think what Councilman Anderson is saying is that he would like to see occupancy trigger
Mhm.
for
Okay.
the CO for the
self-storage.
self-storage.
For the self, okay,
Correct.
that's
I
fair.
mean, we can do it twofold, we can tie it into the other unit, but what's gonna make him and motivate him is he wants storage.
Right.
That's what he wants. So the motivator has to be attached to that. And I think that will allow him to hustle a little bit more to
Right.
try to bring in businesses to fill those spaces,
The right businesses.
the
for
right
Willingboro.
businesses, correct?
Yes, no more dollar stores. No more smoke shops.
50-cent spot?
No.
Yeah.
So, okay, so then I think we're all in agreement. I mean, as we continue our conversations with the redevelopment attorney, that trigger, I guess the conversation is still what
What is the
exactly?
occupancy?
Yeah,
What
what
is
is
the
that?
What is
the
the
number?
percent?
What is the
Is
percent? I'm saying
50% too low? Is that too
I'm
low
saying
of a
100%.
number?
Listen,
For the
we
first-
have to go after what we want. Okay, I'm not interested in negotiating, so we tell him 70%. That's gonna be his target. Like I said, I've been down this road with this development
We understand,
project.
yeah.
We have to say what we want. And depending on how bad he wants to move forward, he'll put that effort in. But we have to call the shots here.
Is this something that we can discuss in
Yeah.
executive session? I don't feel comfortable having this
You
discussion.
can because you're discussing terms and conditions of a
okay.
potential contract and developers agreement. So it's definitely something you can discuss in closed session.
Okay.
Okay, and just for the purpose of the public, we are discussing, which we'll take into executive session. We are discussing that plot that's next to the Avery. There's a piece of property that needs to be developed, and we're looking to develop commercial versus more housing, but we're trying to get some, economic development and rateables in our town. So that is the discussion that we were just having. Thank you.
Moving on, Madam Mayor.
Is there anything else for, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
Is there anything else for unfinished business? All right, moving on to new business.
Certainly, moving on, Madam Mayor, I'm going to defer to the solicitor for your two new business items to ask whether those items should be discussed in executive session and the reason for each, if so.
Are we gonna go into closed session right now or gonna do public?
We're gonna do executive session after.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, in terms of new business, both of these items, because they do involve the contracts and hiring and retention of professionals and how that will be done through reorg, they are appropriate subjects for closed session. So after we do public comment, we'll do the motion to go into closed session to go from there.
Understood. Moving
Public
further
comment
with the
and-
agenda.
Just in case people, yeah.
Understood. On your call, Madam Mayor.
Okay, we'll be moving on. Do you need, go ahead. Councilman
Under the new business, I believe, Dr. Worthy, you had something that you put under new business?
It was the office updates in
Oh,
terms of the rooms. Now it's time.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Harris, I did want to revisit the conversation about council workspace. And whatever the project is that's happening next to your office, that expansion project. So I would like to be able to have that discussion about council workspace and what has been considered for council as we need a place to work.
So what is happening in my office is exactly that. It's an expansion of my office. There was an office back there that I wanted to connect that space to my office so I could have additional spaces for my new assistant and Miss Jackson to work out of. So we're just cutting that wall and closing that space off and including that as part of the administration's office. As far as the council's workspace, I am open and amenable to providing you workspace. My understanding was the council had the council workspace room in the back that was utilized. That you have a conference room behind this space here that you utilize. You also had a conference room in the clerk's office, which I was told was the council's conference room. So there has been no other conversations regarding the need of space until most recently. There was some discussion about the utilization of some space in the JFK Center, which I was temporarily filling in while some projects were being utilized over there. I was told that was relayed to you that you couldn't use that office because there were some mold issues or something, which I was unaware of because I'm using that office. And if you want to use that office, then you can use that office. I understand at some point you used to be where Congressman Kim was. And he's utilizing that space now. But if the council wants additional workspace, then we can discuss about establishing that space somewhere in the municipality, but I just need to know where that space is desired.
Councilman Anderson?
So, well, the space in the back in the fishbowl where you're cutting out, expanding, we were using that for a small period of time. Then that was, I guess, assigned to communications. But then when there's court, that's where a lot of the patrons sit and wait. So it wasn't really efficient for us for the most part. The conference room is considered because it was on that side of the clerks, but we don't work out of there. We may, if we have to meet with somebody, we'll meet with them in there, but it's not a working space.
Right.
Yes, we did have Congressman Kim's office prior to him coming. But for purposes of hours and being able to be available to the community, me as an individual would like to have space at the Kennedy Center.
Okay.
If you don't mind sharing your office, I would love that because that's prime real estate.
That is prime
That's
real
prime
estate.
real estate. I would love to be able to share that. So this way, when folks walk in, they don't have to go all through the building around and about. It's right there. There's the lobby right out front. And that's me as an individual speaking. But I would love that prime real estate, nothing more but to share it with you.
Is everybody in agreement?
And I'm only using that space
Been asking about that.
moderately, maybe 1 or 2 days every other week,
And that's
just to
fine.
kind of monitor the construction projects that are going on at the JFK Center.
And I mean, we can share it. It's just that we have somewhere in the evenings, we have access.
Absolutely.
So if we had a key fob to go in there, boop, we can get right in.
Yeah. So
And,
is everybody in agreement with Councilman Anderson's recommendation?
Well, I'm not I think it should be used by the council. I don't see why we have to share it with Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris has an office here in this building. And prior to initially, honestly, we had the mayor's office in this building, and then you had the council's office, the one that Sarah Wooding was moved into, because she was in a cubicle at that time. So somehow that disappeared, things changed. The point is, we do need a working space. And this is something that we had talked about before. And even that room that was back there, as some of the challenges are when there's court in session, it's an issue. There wasn't a functioning printer in there, a lot of simple things that were not available to us there. So I think a place like the JFK Center, the room that Mr. Councilman Anderson is speaking of, I think that would be sufficient. But with working desks, like I wouldn't sit on the same desk that Councilman Anderson said if I'm not, if he's there. Right.
Well,
It's-
so you want 5 desks in there as well? That'll
Necessarily,
be kind of tight.
we wouldn't necessarily all be there at the same time, but I mean, like a personal space, it's your space, you have it there. It's an office space, like within that makes any sense. And a printer, functioning office tools, a phone, printer, things that are there.
I am in no objection to council having the required space that you need to conduct your business. Just tell me what it is that you're looking for and we can make it happen. If you want 2 desks in there, you'll have 2 desks. You'll have computers, you'll have phones. We'll change the locks and if you don't want me in there, I can find other spaces to sit in. There's plenty of space in the JFK Center in this municipality for me to do the work that I need to do.
Could we get a key fob?
Absolutely.
Okay, I do appreciate the discussion because there's so many projects that happen around the municipality and we get the updates, but the basic consideration for council is not included in any of those projects. And so I appreciate the discussion today. I'm open to working at JFK and maybe 2 desks be sufficient, just so at least it's.
I would say 2. I mean,
Yeah, because we can't have
I mean,
3
we're not
anyway,
supposed to
like
have
we
3,
can't have
that's
a,
why I think the 2.
Yeah.
This way it's not like we set it up for 3. We can't all 3 being at the same
Right.
time.
Right.
So, I mean,
so 2 desks. Yeah, I think that would be.
And there is a conference table in there. Is that enough? The conference table that's in there, that's sufficient for you. 2 desks and a conference table. It's a pretty sizable room. We'll make it work.
And I know that when, at one point, that office was being used and we were informed as a body that the personnel working in that office had to relocate to a different office because that office had mold. We were told about leaks that were going in there from the bathroom, and that was the only reason the person was relocated. So I would like to know if the space is inhabitable and if it's a safe space to work, because it was the reason that the person, we were told that was the reason why there was a change in office space.
Well, I've been using that space and I haven't seen any mold and
That's not my question. If we could find out if that is a safe space,
Right.
to inhabit, I'd appreciate that before we just come and move into this space.
I agree.
The bathroom leak. The bathroom backup
We will have it investigated for mold and
and fecal matter.
Yeah. Okay, no, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anything else for new business? All right, we're moving on to public comment. Public comment is now open. You have 4 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Public comment is now open.
William Weston for Bosworth Lane. But I see the Avery, I just want to know that area, is it storage, commercial and residency? I believe it was that last time I checked on it, but I just want to make sure that's what's going on with that. Concerning the police and the non-lethal training, could that be expounded on? I just want to know exactly what was happening with that. I do appreciate the food deliveries that the police do. I believe that's with the Chi-CDC on the 3rd Saturday. I attended the tree lighting program. It was excellent. It was a great turnout. And I had to say thanks to Santa for staying after and taking all the pictures with the children. I see there was a nice little line and I appreciate that. And also thanks for the update on the Oh, and thanks to the mayor and the deputy mayor for also being in the line with the with the children taking pictures. Thanks for the update on the performing arts center. It's a potential jewel in the crown of Willingboro. How close to, I'm still not sure how close we are to completion. It sounds like some things still have to be brought into it. And I just would like an update with that. And of course, congrats to Councilwoman Worthy being recognized by the South Jersey Journal as most influential, one of the most influential, African-American leaders. And also, and I don't see her here, Reba Foster, who also was recognized. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Police training, you wanted an update from what?
Yeah, something about non-lethal training.
Non-lethal, okay. Okay, thank you. And then in between, I just want to congratulate Dr. Worthy for that. That is awesome. One of the top influential people in South Jersey. That is really good. So congratulations and continued success on all the work that you do.
I'll try this again.
You got it, Miss.
Good evening, honorable council, members and Mayor McIntosh. My name is Martha Gunning. I'm a Democratic committee woman for the 29th voting district in Willingboro Borough and educator. I come this evening to share a couple of,
I'm sorry, Ms. Gunning. Could I get an address for the record?
I'm sorry.
Could I get an address for the record?
Yes, 146 Country Club Road.
Thank you so much.
All right. Before I start my brief presentation, I promise to be brief, not long-winded. I know you've had a long day, a long evening, but I do want to thank you for being the gatekeepers and watch men and women on the walls surrounding our beloved community, Willingboro. I'd like to make one recommendation. We'll have two. One was based on what I heard about the ambulance services. Is that what's been discussed? Was emergency services? I'm sorry, animal control. Okay, but I do want to, I received a call this afternoon from a resident who was concerned about emergency services, ambulance services in Willingboro. Could there be an article in your next newsletter explaining to residents about the emergency services in Willingboro and how to access those services so that they'll have a clear understanding? Because they were concerned because it was an ambulance from, I think, East Hampton, West Hampton, that answered the call that they put in for Willingboro, and they didn't understand why. So perhaps if there could be some explanation for that. I have an article that I'd like to share with you. And I want to preface my article by saying that I don't believe for 1 minute that each one of you do not have the best interests of Willingboro residents and our children at heart. However, there is a concern about the Village Vapor and Smoke Shop that's going to be opening in Gaetano's shopping center. The advertisement, the way it's advertised, that's of concern. But I'd just like to read excerpts from this article from Saraville, New Jersey. There's a new effort underway in New Jersey to limit the prevalence of smoke shops, especially in areas near schools. Lawmakers are clearing the smoke out of Sayersville. They passed an ordinance banning smoke and vape shops from opening in the borough, and those that already exist will be required to have a license. Sayreville police have confirmed the department cited at least one gas station for selling e-products to minors. It is an issue that high school principal, Mr. Rubino says will take a village to solve. Students want to leave class more often to go and vape, and that's what we're seeing a lot of. The school district has been trying to reduce the use of electronic smoking devices among students by installing vapor detectors in bathrooms. We're also educating our students through assemblies. We just had a vape night for parents. It's a concern that health advocates are faced with across the state because of the impact of vaping.
Sorry, ma'am, I believe that is your time.
Oh, is my time is up?
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
I just want to conclude by requesting that the township schedule a meeting with residents and the owner of Village Vape and Smoke Shop. I conclude with that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We just got this thing to work right again with the remotes, but I promise I'll make that sure that happens.
Thank you, Ms. Gunning.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak at this time? Are there any members from the online connection?
Yes, sir. Sharon Anderson.
Go right ahead, sir. Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Hi, all. Sharon Anderson, 7 Bellhurst. I want to thank the township for several things. Several things. The Willingboro Connect app, I'm finding is really working. And when I mention it to other people, they're finding it works for them too. I reported a street sign problem. I received a response in a day, maybe 2. More than that, the correction was made within a week. It was really nice to ask for something and there's a response. I want to thank you for the library lights. They are particularly nice as nightfall comes so early these winter months. Getting back to the questions on the animal control, it was my oversight to not add commendations to Director Bucks and to police officers. As Manager Harris mentioned, there was a problem with callers being sent in circles. In our experience, Borough Pet Project, this was resolved several months ago when Director Bucks responded quickly and effectively when we reported the matters. Council's correct that the public needs to be educated about the numbers, but when they do call, they're not getting referred in circles anymore, thanks to Director Bucks. I'd also like to mention Sergeant Mitnick. She has been a great help in guiding Borough Pet Project and how we can best help outside NJAC's on-duty hours. Just this week, we were able to partner with the police to help reunite a found dog while officers were needed for an emergency of greater need. Otherwise, these folks would have had to wait hours. It was really nice to be in partnership. As for microchip readers, the animal control officers have had readers in the past. I don't know where they are now. Good ones run about $200 each. The issue isn't the equipment, though, it's the procedures. The animal control officers are waiting until they've driven all the way over to West Hampton with the animal to use the chip reader at the shelter. And when there is a registered chip, from what we've heard, when there was a registered chip, the owner didn't get called until the next day. So they didn't know that their animal was found and in the shelter at night, which I don't know if for those of us who own pets, we know how that is just very anxiety provoking. In the next RFQ, our residents would be better served by having the option to be reunited with their pets while they're still here in Willingboro. Director Bucks has excellent statistics on the on-duty and after-hours activity. What needs to be done is apply the contract costs and the premiums that we pay outside the hours. It would also help to know why other towns served by NJAC have different hours. I think they probably propose what they prefer, but I'd like to hold our stance at what we need for the community. I request that there be an ad hoc committee of both township representatives and residents to consider the residents' experiences, the community needs, and the costs, including both NJAC's invoices and we're charged for shelter services. So we have 2 places we pay. And I'd like to manage those costs in a way that their service is effective for residents. I request that this meeting, this convening, be completed well in advance of the contract, end of the contract extension, so that the next RFQ reflects our needs and not just be a reaction to what one vendor offers. Thank you again. I think the town's really on a great path, and having our town clerk riding with us, based on experience in the past, I'm really looking up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Ms.
Ms. Anderson. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak from the Zoom connection?
Yes, Brown.
Go right ahead, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your hard work. I just wanted to say to be an open mind about developers coming to our township, because we need more developers and we need more business in our township. So most of the burden of the property tax can go towards the business.
I'm sorry, I do apologize for
Ask you
interjecting.
how
Just
many
say your name.
residents are in Willenboro, because during the vote-in,
We're not-
4,000 people answered a question. I want to know, we only have 4,000 residents in Willenboro, and moving forward about voting, we have to be sure that we continue to vote, because we're going to lose our vote if we don't vote. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, could I have your address for the record, name and address for the record again? Please. Moving on. Sean, do we have any other members from the public that wish to speak?
Yes, sir. Beulah Williams.
Go right ahead. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, Township Manager, Clerk, and everyone. This is Beulah Williams from number 8 Botany Circle. I appreciate all you're doing, but there's something that puzzles me. I am not understanding why our church, I almost say my church clerk, the township clerk is no longer there. I don't understand the transitional period, what has taken place. And as a member of the community, I think I have a right to ask, why isn't our clerk, Ms. Blige, there anymore? And there were wonderful accolades by the mayor and council, nothing from our township manager. And if she was doing such a wonderful job, why does she need to be replaced? I have a soft part in my heart for veterans who serve our country. And I just want to make sure that, there was fairness there. Why has she been replaced? I would like an answer for that. And also, I just learned that there is a shop opened up by Gitano for the marijuana shop, lack of a better word. I know when the township were contemplating bringing, I forget what you call it, the marijuana, the medical marijuana here, there was a stipulation that the shops would be far away from our schools. And now I've learned that there'll be one opening up by Gitanos. That's too close from our high school, from our schools. Children are there day in and day out using that to go to and from school. So I have a concern and I need some clarification on that. So those 2 items, can I have it addressed, please? I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
You're welcome.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak at this time?
Yes, sir. Martin Knock.
Go right ahead, Mr. Knock. Please state your name and address for the record as well.
Good evening. My name is Martin Knock. I live on Windsor Lane. And I want to say good evening to everyone. First, I want to wish Ms. Balajian well and say to Mr. Garcia, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Now, my concern is why I got on this is I'm concerned about a coordination problem. As a chair of the planning board, I was asked to join a meeting of the zoning board. And I asked the attorney whether or not I was allowed to speak. And they told me that I can speak as a resident since the proposal before the zoning board was bypassed. It bypassed the planning board. And the proposal was to put a school of 200 students and 75 daycare students on the corner of Pennypacker and 130 Drive. And I'm asking, with all of the other activity that you talked about tonight and so forth, the storage facility, the commercial space, and I believe they want an extra couple buildings that Avery does. Who's coordinating this stuff for the township, at least to know that, geez, the zoning board is considering a proposal for a K-12 school of 200 students, building a building for 75 daycare, and across the street, across the street is going to be all this other activity, and there's no sidewalks over there. And I was flabbergasted to know that proposal was before the zoning board. And I believe the zoning board doesn't have as much expertise in new development and everything else as a planning board. So I just need to know, other than myself being on the meeting, who's kind of coordinating this, who's doing the traffic studies, who's responsible for all that activity on one corner at 130. And you already have a gas station there. You got a hotel that this new school would reach back to the church, the Latino church, and I guess the back of the hotel. It just seems like a lot of activity for one corner. Now, Mayor McIntosh, I've already spoke to you and like, what's going on here? Because it looks like we are moving forward with the Avery development in some shape or form. But across the street with 200 K-12 students, there's got to be something done. So I'm just bringing it to your attention. I don't have an answer for that at all. I wish I did. But we really got to look at this. And I don't know whose responsibility really it falls under, other than maybe the staff of the township, to let each committee be aware that these proposals are being out there and so forth. But again, I want to say thank you for listening. And Mr. Garcia, looking forward to working with you. I already worked with your one of the staff, Mr. Said Hilaire. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Knott.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak at this time?
Yes, Pat Lindsay Harvey.
Go right ahead, Ms. Lindsay Harvey. Ms. Pat, are you there? I didn't say.
Okay, Miss Pat, you can write it in the chat again because we can't hear you at all. Yeah.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak at this time?
Yes, Tarina Williams. There is
Go
an
right ahead.
option to dial in as well, to call in.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead with the next member of the public that wishes to speak. Please state your name and address for the record.
Serena Williams, 8 Botany Circle. Good evening, Mayor McIntosh, Deputy Mayor Whitfield, Councilman Perone, Dr. Tiffany Worthy, and Councilman Anderson. You have empathy and a good heart, so you care for people's needs as a doctor. Township Manager Harris, and of course, our new Township Clerk Garcia. I want to first say thank you to Ms. Blygen for your tireless service for the township. Welcome to Mr. Garcia, and may God richly bless everyone individually and collectively as a body as we work together to serve the township of Willingboro. There's a lot to cover. I too share the concern about the medical marijuana shop. I was really shocked when I heard about it and would suggest that we have a town hall discussing the purpose of this place, people to express their concern. And with so many children and young people suffering mental illness, this could be used as a quick but a terrible escape for them. So it's not wise for it to be so easily accessible. We're supposed to care for the needs, not put them in harm's way. So really appreciate if we could have a town hall to not only to discuss the bad things about medical marijuana, but for the community to express their concern, because this seems to have come out of nowhere. Also, I wanted to inform everyone who doesn't already know, the Beloved Project of New Jersey, one of the most dedicated nonprofit organizations I've ever come in contact with, by Miss Claudine Archer. They're having their toiletry project where they'll be collecting and distributing different toiletries such as deodorants and wipes and various things to help the less fortunate. And they're collaborating with different police departments like our own Willingboro Township, Delran, and Burlington. So if you go to their police stations, you can drop it off there or at the community center. Moving on to my next, our church, Willingboro Seventh-day Adventist Church at 201 Veterans Parkway, will be having 2 upcoming events. One is next Saturday. The children will be hosting a special Christmas program. And then the following week will be our music day, where we'll be paying special tribute to our veterans that were in debt for their dedicated sacrifice and service for our country. So just want to share those things, and may God richly bless you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
You're welcome.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak at this time?
Okay. Anyone else? Public comment? All right, public comment is now closed.
All right,
All right,
moving right along to council comment.
we're gonna address the public comment now.
Certainly.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Weston. For the Avery project, it is public storage. Previously, we were looking at about 5 apartment buildings and some restaurants. He has at this point evolved into wanting to build a public storage, which is not classified as commercial according to our land use at this time. So that's why it has to come through council. But he's also offering to build bigger spaces for restaurants or commercial activity, which I think is my own opinion is a win for Wellingboro, but we just have to work out the kinks. The police training, Captain Bucks.
Yes, what Mr. Harris was referring to in his managers report was the continuation of a program we started back in 2012, which was our TASER program. This past October, we were able to have 40 of our police officers certified in the new TASER. Over the years, it started off as the TASER, it upgraded to the TASER 2, and now they're at the TASER 7. So we were able to certify 40 of our officers in that in that equipment, which is another option to give them while they're out on call as a less lethal option, as opposed to a lethal option while responding to calls for service.
Thank you. Can we just have a little bit more insight on the Performing Arts Center and the completion scheduling?
So the Performing Arts Center, as you know, we are converting it into, or finishing it. It'll be a 500+ seat theater. The construction or completion of construction will begin. It's the inclusion of our seating and the lighting and the sound and the carpeting and all of those. And once the curtain is hung, then essentially the theater will be available for use for performances and things like that. The second phase after that would be dealing with more of the back behind the stage amenities like the green room and places for the artists to change and things like that. But it is our hope that the theater itself will be ready for use in April of 2024. And does that kind of good for you, Mr. Weston? Okay.
Thank you. Moving on for Ms. Gunning, she did have a concern about the EMS and how we operate in terms of we had, I guess, surrounding municipalities attending to some of our residents.
So the best way to access EMS services is to always dial 911 and they will be dispatched. We have a very busy emergency squad. They answer several thousands of calls per day, and at times they have multiple calls that they are attending to simultaneously. We have mutual aid agreements with our neighboring municipalities that if our squads are not available, they will come in and cover our calls, as well as we will cover them in their time of need. So it is not uncommon for another ambulance from Cinnaminson or Delran or to come into Willingboro to come in and cover a call if our squad is occupied at other events. So that is probably what happened and why she got a response from, I believe she said Cinnaminson.
Okay, perfect. And then moving on for the vapor smoke shop. Just to be clear, for clarification, the council has only approved one marijuana dispensary, and that is on Route 130 in the town center on the edge of Willingboro. So there's no other marijuana being sold within the confines of the town, and the council was very deliberate in making sure that there was no marijuana being sold in any of our areas where children or our high schoolers would be walking or in the innards of the town. So that was a very deliberate decision from council's part. However, the smoke shops, they're not prohibited. And there is a difference between the marijuana dispensary and the smoke shops. The smoke shops are more tobacco driven. I'm personally gonna say that's the healthiest thing, but it is tobacco, it is legal. We do have two, I believe. This is the new one I saw in JFK Way. But we do have one that's been here a long time on Route 130, across from Pep Boys. But I think it's a permitted use.
That is correct.
I mean, not much to add to that other than, if it's a permitted use and they meet the requirements, they by law, they're entitled to move ahead with the project, subject to if there needs to be site plan review, that'd be done by the planning board. If it wasn't a permitted use, they would have had to go through the zoning board and then get approval through the zoning board for a use variance, which I don't think has happened. I believe, as Mr. Harris has stated, that this was a permitted use. So a tobacco vape shop is a permitted use. And as the mayor's pointed out, the only other approved marijuana dispensary is the one she referred to off of Route 130 in the town center.
Yeah, which is on the edge. And like I said, council was very deliberate making sure we did not allow any dispensaries in the middle of the township. And especially, where high school students or any students would be walking or traveling to and from school. Ms. Anderson, just more comments on the animal control. I think you answered everything for Ms. Anderson. But going forward, we do have to make sure, we thank you for those statistics. 11% on the weekends. Council can look at that for the next RFQ to see if that's worth adjusting the hours for a premium price. But thank you for those. That was very helpful. Ms. Brown was just encouraging people to vote. Ms. Beulah Williams, had some concerns about Ms. Blygen. Just for your information, Ms. Williams, the township clerk is a council appointment. We did have Ms. Belygen was our acting township clerk, and her appointment was expired on December 1st. So we had to get a RMC certified clerk. We were out of time with Ms. Blygen, so Mr. Garcia is here, and I think he's a very good addition, but Ms. Blygen is still in the building. It was not she wasn't fired or anything like that. It was just that, you know, legally we had to appoint a RMC certified township clerk. Mr. Knock, I think, can you address that, Mr. Crook?
I didn't fully understand this stuff without getting all the facts, but to the extent that the school is before the zoning board. Thank you. To the extent that the school is, or the applicant is before the zoning board seeking to put in a school, it'd be highly inappropriate for this council to comment or become involved during that process. Their zoning board is given exclusive jurisdiction to decide on applications before it. I don't know whether that's a use variance. I don't know what the application is. My guess is it's a use variance, in which case if it was probably a D variance, it'd be very difficult to get. But realistically, I would advise this board as the solicitor that they shouldn't make any comment at this point and allow the zoning board to do their process. And there is a potential, if there is a D variance granted, that the appeal could come to this board, which is even more reason for them not to comment further on that issue. So I really have nothing else to offer on that tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Crook. And again, Ms. Tarina Williams, I addressed the marijuana issue. Was there anything I missed in those comments? Or anybody have anything to add? Okay, and now we can move on to council comment.
Moving on to council comment on your call, ma'am.
Okay.
Madam Mayor.
Does any council have any comments for tonight?
Absolutely.
Councilman Anderson?
Just want to, as usual, thank everyone for coming out. The tree lighting event was a success. I mean, it was a huge success. It was good to see the community come together. The 12 days of Christmas was a hit. So I just want to say kudos to everybody who participated in putting that together, to include Santa over there in the corner. So that was I appreciate you, Mr. Tunstall, for stepping up, putting on the red suit.
That wasn't Mr.
That wasn't
Tunstall.
Santa?
That was Santa. We don't know
That
what
wasn't
you're talking
Santa?
about. That wasn't
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Tunstall. That was Santa.
Santa.
Talking about
I appreciate that, Santa.
crazy.
Also, I want to congratulate Mr. Tunstall and his department for bringing in over $1 million in revenue. I know we mentioned at the budget meetings, but a lot of folks weren't in the room, so I just wanted to reiterate that. Congratulations to Chief Burnett on getting 80 residents certified on your way to 100. Kudos to the police department for their food delivery program, much appreciated. And congratulations again to Dr. Worthy and Reva Foster for being recognized as most influential African Americans in New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. Any other council comment? Councilwoman Perone?
Yes, I will echo Councilman Anderson's congratulatories to all of the departments. I missed the tree lighting, but because it was moved to a different date, so I already had prior engagements, but it looks beautiful and I heard nothing but positive feedback from the community. So job well done to everyone who put time into putting it together. And so I have a few comments. One, I thought about it after we had the new business, but the carpet, I know we have like a new Willingboro Township carpet in the municipality, looks really nice. We can include that in the carpet cleaning because it's starting to get a little bit, yeah, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful addition to our building. I also wanted just to offer some suggestions. I know that we've talked a lot about businesses that we're looking for. and to come into Willingboro. I was thinking if perhaps we could do some more marketing for the current businesses, like actually do like a short, we have like a lot of short videos on Facebook showing our vacant properties and actually little commercials of what businesses we're looking to entice and, and encourage people to penetrate our business owners here that have vacant properties. This way, we're not necessarily waiting for somebody to find Willingboro, but like putting our, Willingboro out there through marketing, through our communications department, whether it be something in the paper or virtually, YouTube, Instagram, those type of things. I just want to post that suggestion for boosting our community for businesses that we would like to see here. That's all I have for this evening. Thank you everyone for coming out.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for everyone who came out. Of course, I echo the sentiments and congratulations. I agree with the marketing thing. We had talked about that in 2020 and 21. Now we got Mr. Harris, so we can let him know what we're trying to do. But I think that'd be wonderful to really boost the community in front of developers and other people as well. And I want to say congratulations to this council for the hard work and for the diligence, the efforts for 2023 as we get ready to wrap up. We still have a few more meetings left, but if we look back at where we were at the start of the year and where we are now, the departments coming together, the administration working together much more cohesively, projects moving forward, economic development coming forward, businesses coming to Willingboro, more synergies between the MUA, the school district, and this municipality. It's because of the five of us here working alongside the administration. So I don't think that we pat ourselves on the back enough. We get a lot of kicks and bruises and bumps along the way, but I think that we're a strong team and we appreciate the support of the residents as we continue to listen to your ideas and bring your ideas to life for this community moving forward. So just want to say thank you all for all that you all have done. And thank you to council and mayor and deputy mayor for a solid 2023.
Absolutely.
All right, good evening, Willingboro. I have just a couple notes. First, I wanted to again thank Ms. Blige for her service and welcome Mr. Garcia. We're looking forward to having you back in Willingboro and leading the clerk's office to success or continued success. I also wanted to just reiterate once again the lighting project and give kudos to Mr. Harris and the Department of Public Works for the lights at JFK. That was a hot topic for a very long time. The lighting in the parking lot was terrible. But if you've been over there lately, especially with the it getting darker sooner, you can definitely tell the difference in the lighting in that area. So thank you to Public Works and Mr. Harris for keeping our residents in mind and their safety at the forefront. It is truly the most wonderful time of the year in Willingboro. The tree lighting was wonderful. And I am looking forward to being on the sleigh with Santa and his elves on Saturday. So keep a lookout. So keep a lookout for us around town. It's always a good time. And yeah, thank my council colleagues for all your hard work throughout the year. Congratulations, Dr. Worthy and Ms. Foster, on your award, and looking forward to continuing our success in 2024.
Yeah, we got one more meeting now, so don't forget. Two more, yes. 2 more meetings. I think council did a great job saying what I wanted to say also, but I do want to take this time during the holiday season to remind everyone to take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones. This is a stressful time for people, your neighbors. Really get in the spirit, because sometimes I look at Willingboro and that's what we're lacking, is that spirit of togetherness and cohesiveness. And, again, I always say we have infrastructure issues, we got economic development issues, we got a lot of issues, but sometimes we really have to take care of our spirit and our soul. And I really hope that we all take that into account, especially as we wind down this year and we wind down in this season. We have vacation time, love one another, kiss on your parents and your brothers and sisters and your family. And your neighbors. Look out for your neighbors. Look out for our elderly. Look out for our single mothers. Look out for each of us have different needs. And, we are each other's keeper. So I just want to make that statement for, this month, that we focus on looking out for each other, because we are stronger together. Unity is paramount here. So continue to love one another. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Amen.
We do have executive session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, I believe we go moving into executive session. Need a motion to go into executive session?
And there'll be no,
And I'm sorry, I'll defer to the
I'll give you
solicitor.
notice.
Thank you.
So council will be moving into executive session, closed session, of which under the act, the provisions that apply are for contract negotiations, personnel, labor matters, and attorney-client privilege. So we're going into closed session.
Client,
And we will not be coming back or doing any action after that other than to adjourn. Thank you.
understood. Client. Personnel.
Did we take the motion to go?
You
in?
need a motion to go in executive?
So
move, second.
It's been moved in second. All say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? None opposed? Go to executive.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, I need a motion to come out of executive session.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Dr. Worthy. Roll call. Roll call. Roll call.
Roll call.
Councilman Anderson, yes.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy, yes. Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
carried.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Might
adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn.
So
So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Mm-mm.
All right, it is 11. What's the time?
It is 10:50.
10:50. Good night, Willingboro.
Good night, Willingboro.